What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG and I'm here with
NBEA.
And we are here on this episode of Recap Rewind, and we're going to be reviewing
American Crime Story.
Episode 3, Season 2, and it is called
The Assassination of Gianni Versace. A Random Killing.
A Random Killing is the name of the episode.
So what did you think overall about the episode?
Well, for one, I guess it was just like a big directional change because I just wanted to stay in Miami, keep it warm.
I just wanted to be warm.
Stay warm, but instead we took a turn to Chicago, and it really focused on Andrew Cunan's other murders. Yeah.
The main one being the Lee Miglin murder in Chicago.
Right.
What did you think? Did you like the episode?
Well, so for one, I didn't know the history of this storyline, so I was intrigued by it. I also adore Judith Light, so I was like so interested to see her on
Where is
screen.
she from?
She's from Who's the Boss? That's like the main one, and then she was in Ugly Betty. She's great. So it focuses a lot on the murder of Lee Miglin.
So you liked the episode?
I liked it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
And I think it was totally necessary. You know what I mean? Like,
you needed
to
hear
to dive into his
the
history.
Backstory. Yeah, 100%.
And like all the shit that he's getting away with, all the things, like his motivations. A lot of that scene with Lee was like, he's not just a killer almost. He's like a really diabolical like person.
Yeah, he wants to, like, I thought that thing that he did with that man in the hotel was a one-off.
Yeah,
but the whole like wrapping of the face situation, the domination.
And like even him being like, I'm gonna like, your body's gonna be here and like there's gonna be like pornographic like stuff around you.
He's
like,
doing it almost like politically.
Yeah,
he's doing it like in a very dark sexual way. Like it's almost like there's a lot of shame that he's attached to being gay. Like, I don't know, you can't get into the psychosis.
Like, it was more
really
than just
him.
like, I'm gonna kill this guy and dip. It was like a whole thing.
There was like a reason.
God. Yeah,
I mean, then he kills somebody else for no reason at all. Right. So anyway, we wanted to just do like a really quick like overall recap. And so, like we mentioned, it covers the Lee Miglin murder, and it really focuses on his wife in the very beginning and her like finding out about the murder.
Right.
And so she's in Toronto, Canada. Hey,
shout out.
And then she's waiting to get picked up. She doesn't get picked up by her husband. She gets home and everything looks like really sketchy.
And I think what I loved about, because this was one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode, like this whole sequence.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like you open up to it and we already know what's going to happen. Like, we know that this man is dead somewhere in the house somehow. Yeah. And so you're sort of, there's like this hole in your stomach that I'm like, damn it, she's going to like walk in on this guy and see him because I know he's dead. But the anticipation of that, they're leading you through the house, the neighbors come and the neighbor checks.
Right.
The wife is sitting in the thing. Like, it's all building up to it and you're like, oh my God, where are they going to find this body? What's he going to look like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
And they have to like, it's props to the writers and the producers and you know the whole team, because how do you create a scene where you already know what's gonna happen, but you're still creating like suspense and like intrigue.
You want to like exactly. It's true. It's very true. And I think they did it really successfully. Yeah. So all you really hear is it's a shot of Marilyn in the kitchen, played by Judith Light, and she's just like waiting and like sipping tea or whatever. And all you hear is like her neighbor screaming from the garage, discovering the body. And then you see her run in, and all she says is like, I knew it.
She's like whispering, to herself.
Like, so then it cuts back to like a week earlier, and it shows her like,
it's basically showing like their life, like they were socialites,
the relationship and
their relationship together. Like she admired this man so much,
and vice versa. Like she loved him and he loved her, and there was this like, you know, this admiration for each other. And you know, these guys are older. They're like really old grandmas, and they look really cute together. You know, like it shows a scene when they go like back home and they're sleeping. And
one of the lines that I loved in the entire episode though was like when you open up to this huge dinner,
right?
And her name is Marilyn.
Yeah.
She's talking to everyone else about like Lee. She goes, he loved me. Like from the minute like he helped me paint my first store. Like he was always my best friend.
Right.
He was so supportive. They get home and she looks at him and she goes, what color did we paint my store? And he's like, I don't even remember. Like it was a long time ago. She's like, it was pink.
Yeah.
Like I was like, it broke my heart because I'm like she wants to believe in this like relationship, and they're showing off and they're socialites, but he didn't even remember.
He didn't even remember. It's like not past.
It was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is, and like that's even before he died. Yeah. So
you know, it's in those little moments, I think, that really like show you the writing is so well done.
Right.
It's in those little moments.
Because we only get this opportunity to see them together. See these characters, because we're not going to see them again. Yeah. They're just a blip in this storyline of the assassination of Gianni. Yeah. So you're right. To get those little tiny little moments, you're right. It's very important that the writing is on point, so you can glean those little nuances in the relationship just from those moments and that writing. So then she leaves. She has to go like the next day or whatever, and travel to Canada.
But before obviously she leaves, you know, Andrew calls him. So we know that there's that connection there, right? He's like, I'm coming into town, daddy, whatever. So as she's leaving, you know that he's gonna meet up with him.
Yeah. And so she leaves, and then Andrew basically rolls right away, and I guess they're meeting for the first time. It seems like.
No, I don't think it's the first time.
Oh, it's not,
because he said he goes next. He goes, you didn't let me know this time that you were like coming into town. It was so last minute.
Oh,
he's like, I'm lucky that my wife wasn't here this time. Oh, so they had definitely met before.
Okay,
like
I didn't
it was just
know
like
that.
They were meeting. Like,
are you sure?
Yeah,
I think he said next time. Let me know.
I think they had met. No, because when he called him, he was like. Right. Andrew, hi Andrew. Like he knew who he was.
But maybe they knew.
I think when in the news reports, I think it said like they had a relationship.
Oh, like a secret relationship. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so he comes in, and you kind of get to explore this like gigantic, beautiful house, and he shows him like these architect like printouts,
paintings,
like printouts, and that's when Andrew kind of comes through, and he's like. Really weird about it. He says a few things that
he's like, yeah, why are you showing off to me? I don't care.
Like I don't care. You know, this is just a transaction. Yeah. He hires him as an escort, really. Yeah. Like he says, he's like, we're paying each other. And he kind of shows this side of Lee that's like, you know, like we can pretend that this is real, and we can pretend that this is like a situation, because there's obviously a level of like, you know, you want to make it like something different. It was
special. Interesting because like, Lee's the one telling him, can't we just pretend? Meanwhile, this idiot's been pretending his whole freaking life, lying about everything about himself. It was so funny to hear that.
So anyway, that happens, and then he's like, let's go to the garage. Let's like not get anything
have fun
dirty.
There, yeah.
And that's when it all goes down. So in that sequence, he basically brings him over, he throws him against the wall, and then he starts doing that tape thing that he did to that other guy, and he punches him in the face while he's on the floor, ties his legs up, and he throws like a cement on his chest, and it breaks all of his ribs, and he dies.
The news report said like his body was fucked up.
Yeah,
like I think he like mutilated him too and stuff, but I guess they didn't show that.
And before he killed him, he whispered in his ear like, I'm going to leave porn all around, like gay porn all around you, and I'm gonna put on like women's panties, so everyone knows that you're such a sissy or whatever. Like this man who like created all of Chicago was a sissy, and that kind of just gleaned in like it just gleaned into the fact that he was like, there's a level of shame there. There's some sort of shame
too, and I also think like you're right. Like it's like the idea of. He's exposing this man who outside seems so like prominent and like dominant and like a man.
Yeah.
And he's like jealous. He's like, I'm going to bring you down. Like in your last moments on earth, like you're going to like, everyone's going to like
be humiliated.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be
and
humiliated.
There's more in that, right? And I think that also like kind of explains like why he went for someone like Versace too.
Yeah.
Like as much as he's a serial killer, I feel like there's still like motive behind his killing.
Yeah, it's not just like he's doing it because he's a psycho. He's doing it because he's calculated, and there's a message behind what he wants to do. He's trying to like be a bit of a like in his own twisted way, like a hero, like to expose all these people. And you know, like at one point in time, like right before he kills him, he says in the line, there's a line that he says, and it's, disgrace isn't that bad once you settle into it. And this is when he says like, oh, you're going to be worried about the, like, I'm going to be leaving all this porn around you because you're going to be like full of shame.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole idea that like, you know, he's pulling all these like really fucked up emotions. Yeah. This guy's about to die. Why does it even matter? Yeah. But he doesn't care because he's a fucking psycho. Like he wants to like show that there's a purpose to everything.
Yeah.
He actually,
and it sucks that he taped his face shut, because I was like, let this man speak for himself. Like let him talk. Like he's about to die.
At the very
least. Can he say his piece before like this guy dies?
Right.
No, because like you taped his mouth shut. Like
yeah, it's really
just
really
like
fucked up.
Yeah, it was messed up.
So that happens. And then the rest of the sequence is really all about Marilyn and how she handles the situation.
And how even the cops really deal with it too, right?
So
because nobody really wants to say
what happened, like happened. For real.
Yeah.
So you have the investigators and the FBI who are really following this case and trying to track him down, and then all the while Marilyn is trying to cope with, number one, that her husband is dead, and also the fact that there is this like underlying secret, like I don't know, like gay
and so we don't
situation.
really ever find out if Marilyn either if she knew that her husband was gay or had inklings of it. They never really touch on that. They don't really
expose it in this episode or in this show. Yeah, not at all.
And maybe it doesn't really have to be told, but like it was just like, I don't know what it means for the investigation. Was it just that like people were tiptoeing around so much information,
right?
And it led to like,
I mean, in the
errors or something. I don't know.
That's the thing. In the grand scheme of it all, like if we're talking about like this entire season, being gay and not putting a lot of focus on catching him, like that has something to do with it. No, like that's what Ryan Murphy said. He wanted to talk about how like this man like slipped through the cracks based on the fact that he was like killing gay people. So could that be it? But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Like Lee Miglin sounds like it would have been a high profile case in Chicago. So for the fact that they missed it is just, I mean, they do talk about how it all like got fucked up on that side of the investigation. So anyway, it's this back and forth between Marilyn trying to be a boss ass bitch and saying like, we're handling this really, really well. This is what we want to talk about to the press. This is how it was. He was burgled. And the investigators are like, not really. That's not how it went down. But she's very like adamant to show like her image is very, very important. So you can tell this woman is very versed in that public image aspect. And the investigators are like, okay, well, whatever you want to say. Because even the investigators
were like, he let him in. Like, there was no forced entry. So, like, he must have known him.
Right.
Or, like, wanted him to come in. So, like, obviously it's not a burglary. Like, he let him in.
But that's the picture that I guess was painted, or at least in her mind. Or she refused to believe it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the investigators were saying it, but, like, she refused to believe that.
Right. So all the while, the investigators are saying, okay, well, he stole the car, and the car has a car phone in it, and we're tracking the signal. But the signal comes in like once every like...
It like pings.
Yeah, it pings.
The towers, yeah.
So they need to keep it on, but like it's not a consistent signal, so they can't like track him down like exactly where he is. It needs to be like stopped somewhere. So... somehow, for whatever reason, this information gets leaked out to the press, and the radio stations start pumping this thing where it's like, this guy like got murdered, and now the car that's been stolen is pumping out the signal. Sure enough, like the investigator got really, really pissed off, but sure enough, like we see a scene of Andrew taking the antenna off.
He heard it,
and then he like tries to find another car.
He dumps the car. So just real quick question to you.
Yeah.
I was confused because like first he left Chicago, he went to New York. They know that he went to New York because they pinged the car.
Right.
My question is, knowing that he went to New York, why wouldn't they try to get him in New York? Like, I feel like they waited too long to go and catch him, and in doing so, the media found out.
But catch him where? How would they catch him?
I don't know. Maybe like I don't know.
Like, I'm assuming that this whole ping situation and finding where he is and tracking where he is a lot slower and harder to do.
Maybe.
So maybe that's why it was so hard. We know that he changes like his license plate, so like that wouldn't have been easy to catch, right? Like if he's driving around in this like Lincoln or whatever the hell kind of car it was. Like he changed the plate, so it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
It was mostly just that particular like signal that was like clocking him.
I don't know. That's weird too. Yeah, because when he went to New York, he went into the Versace store.
Yeah.
Like, so he spent time in New York City.
Right.
He was walking on the streets, dude.
Yeah.
Like, how did he get away?
I mean, here's the thing too. That's the part when I start to wonder whether or not it was like a lot of dramatization, or if these are like facts, #facts, right? Like, is it really that he like sat around, or is there a security camera that they found later on with the Versace store that showed that he was like lurking? Like, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's a very eerie scene to see because we know what happens later, but that's the one thing that you're like, okay, well, what the hell's happening right now? So yeah, and that kind of ends the entire episode. The major last thing that happens is he's trying to dump his car and find a new one, and he basically follows his old man home, and the old man makes the biggest mistake of his life and keeps the door unlocked while he's checking his mail, and he walks right in, makes him go downstairs, grabs the keys, and shoots him in the back of the head. And that's the end of the episode. Oh no, that's not true. The end of the episode is it cuts back to Marilyn having a bit of a breakdown on camera. And then that's when it ends.
Yeah. I think that parking lot scene I really liked it too, because he's sort of like, he's down and out at this point. Like, right. He's like, I gotta dump this Lexus. I need to get a new car. He's really desperate. And it's in those moments where these guys make big mistakes. Mm-hmm. But this guy, for some reason, like, he just got so lucky. Like, I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, he just got really lucky. Like, like even in that parking lot, nobody booked him. Like, he didn't mess up. He followed this guy perfectly home into like a deserted area, like killed this guy. Like, everything just sort of worked out for him.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, at any point he could have been booked, you know?
It's honestly so scary to think of it that way, because it makes you really second guess your own safety and like how easy it is for someone who really is interested in just getting rid of you or like doing whatever they want. They can do it to you. Like,
it only takes a second. Right?
It really like makes me thankful that my mom's a Filipino and she's super, super paranoid about everything, because she's like, lock the doors as soon as you walk in here. Like, all those little things that you really take for granted when your parents are wanting to be super, super overprotective of you. I mean, damn, like, shit, this guy literally just followed him home and then decided to randomly kill him. Like, it can happen that easily, and it's so sad that, you know, it all kind of falls into like really just bad luck, right?
Bad luck, like, totally really bad luck.
I mean, Lee Miglin's like, a different situation.
And that's the thing, you're right. Like, that, like, leaving that scene, I was so like shook. I was like, because you're right. Like, the Versace story, even the Lee Miglin, like, all these guys let him into their lives.
Had some connection to him.
They welcomed him in. So it was the different, like, circumstance. But this guy was, like, a random guy.
It's always the random killings that make me feel so uneasy like, about it. It's like, but why?
It hit me. I'm like, yo, this guy was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, legit, like.
And he knew what he was doing
so
all the while. So
disruptive in his path,
You know, he was, even in those moments, he was still sure of himself. It's not like he had to wait like a certain amount of time to like investigate like who you are and like what your ins and outs are. He literally was, he felt he was so unstoppable that he could just walk into someone's place, steal a car and kill them.
Yeah.
And like, there would be no other like situation. Like, he didn't know if he had a wife or like a brother or someone who lived with him. He just like rolled up, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I mean. Like, he felt unstoppable. Like, he was untouchable. And it's crazy.
At that point, he's so desperate, right? Like, he doesn't have a choice. He needs that guy's car.
Right. But he could have been stopped in so many of those moments.
Another important thing to note is that, like, when he does leave Lee Miglin's house, that's where he takes those gold coins.
Oh, okay.
Because she says like they're missing,
right.
And those are the same gold coins that we see later, like in another episode where he pawns them. So that's where he got those coins from.
Got it.
I thought they were like Versace coins or something.
I thought they were like Versace, like Mario coins. So yeah, let's get into our roundups.
Yeah.
Recap roundups.
Best moment.
So what was your best moment?
My best moment, honestly, this is really hard to do because like this episode was just so freaking sad. My best moment though, I think that whole sequence in the beginning, just like showing how she sees the body, like how it all like unfolds for her.
Right.
It was like great television right there, like in 3 minutes, you know?
I'm gonna give my best moment to the very, very last sequence where she has her breakdown.
Can you explain that to me? What does, when she says that, the red light, or you keep looking at, what does that mean? Like, to you, what does it mean?
To me, it meant that she like loved him. She was so dedicated to him, and she had this blind love for him. And you know, we talked about it. There's this whole idea of not knowing whether or not she knew he was gay, or she's all about appearances and this and this. But at the end of the day, they were together for X amount of years. They were dedicated to each other, and you know, we don't know the ins and outs of their peer relationship, but that really broke my heart hearing her say that, you know, one of the first things that they said to her when she wanted to get comfortable like being in front of screen is look at the red light on the camera while you're looking at it and think of the person that you love, because like I know that would calm me down, right? If I were able to do the same thing. So now that she doesn't have that, like, it's heartbreaking.
And it's so heartbreaking to see this woman who like loved him so much. She like came home, put her perfume on, like for him, like she was like putting down the cleavage. I'm like, okay, she's getting ready for man's, and like he gave no shit.
Yeah,
he put the perfume on for Andrew.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
take that in. Like this partner who you've been with for 40 years has this huge secret that you have no idea about. Lies.com. And it got you killed. You know, like it's true. Really like it's a shame. Like
it is a shame.
Because you were like horny and like you wanted to like screw this kid, like, or
you were closeted all these years and you never felt you had the opportunity to get out of something that you never wanted in the first place. Like, yeah, he was dedicated to her probably from the beginning to the end, and he probably would have done that until he died. But you know, are you living your honest, true self? He even says it himself. But no one has ever kissed me like that before.
Because of that, you make really bad judgments.
Of course.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
My WTF moment was when the media releases the information about the car's signal, because I was like, what the actual F?
Are you
guys? Honestly, honestly, you're gonna lose this one too.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. I was so angry. And we were talking about it offline too, because I'm like, why would the media release this though? Like the media knows there's an investigation. This guy's a serial killer. Let's just keep on the DL.
Yeah.
Because there's an investigation going on.
I feel like that's like a criminal charge if you do something like that. Like, why would it be okay?
How is that okay to do that?
To like release that information? Like, they're trying to catch this guy. It doesn't make any sense for me. And I don't know why murders are still like shocking me in so many ways, but what he does to Lee really like made me feel some type of way. Like, it gets we saw it the first time at the hotel with that other guy, but seeing it all executed and finalized with Lee, it made me feel really.
And don't forget that happened first, right? Like the Lee thing happens first.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
So it starts with Lee actually.
Right.
Then he takes the guy in Miami. Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
MVP. My MVP, I literally had no one to give this to, so I chose the police officer that finds his car like down the street, and she like books it. She's like, "Whose car is this?" Like sketch.
I'm like 7 tickets.
You did good at least. Like I don't know who else I could do for MVP. You know, I don't know. I wanted to do Marilyn, but I'm like, but she didn't really like. She wasn't MVP though. Was she yours?
She's my MVP.
But she failed to like see everything.
A few reasons. Like, I mean, what is she gonna do? Like, don't be gay and like.
No, it's about like knowing your husband of 40 years. Like, you could have seen things. They told her what happened and she refused to even see the evidence.
I mean, I'm sure like, she saw it, but
delusional.
she's deluged at that point in time. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to be shocked about it all the rest of your life. You're like 75 years old. Yeah. Your entire relationship was built on lies.
Yeah.
He's dead now. He's been murdered. There's no resolve. You can't even fucking fight with him.
Yeah, but then why should you MVP then?
She's my MVP because I feel like she carried herself well through the entire investigation. Fair. I think that she didn't like break down. At least the way they portrayed her was like a really strong woman.
But in that strength, there's like a sense of delusion too, right?
100%.
That's the part that I can't like go behind.
But I feel like
you're lying to yourself.
In those moments, you have to lie to yourself to get through it, because those are really raw, really like fucked up things that you have to think about. Your man was murdered by an escort that he secretly had on the side, and like, you know, he killed him. He ended up killing him. Yeah. So it's like,
I think she knew. When she says I knew it, I almost feel like it meant both ways. I feel like she knew that he was dead, right, and she knew that he was doing something shady behind her back, because she saw the ice cream first. And I felt like as soon as she saw the ice cream, she knew he did like
something else.
There
was
like,
something else there,
like sexual almost. You know, like why is there ice cream like on the counter? Like,
right. So yeah, she's still my MVP. I love Judith Light, like I said. So like seeing her on screen again, I was happy to see that too.
LVP.
My LVP is Lee Miglin.
Okay.
Because I was just like, you can be the smartest person, you can be the coolest person, you can be like this man who like has all these accolades and people look up to you, and you've done all this with your life, and in this one part of your life you're so weak, like your judgment sucks. Like this guy was psycho. Like he was legit psycho. The fact that you couldn't book it is like crazy to me, you know?
Right.
Like, how did you not know that he was crazy?
Dude, I don't know, man. My LVP goes to the radio broadcasters who put out that signal and like said, listen, like these guys have a signal. He totally fucked that shit up. What the hell's wrong with you guys? Like, you helped this guy get away. So,
well, like you said before me, you're right. Even if they had known it, like what were they gonna do with that information?
What do you mean? They would have just kept it, not said anything.
And then what? Found him? Because they couldn't even find him in New York.
That's true, but that stopped him from using that car, and then he moved on to the next car. You know, like he was able to keep jumping around. Yeah.
It's the car. They would have found the car.
They were going to catch him at some point.
The best line. My best quote, I think, is when she says, like, do you even remember what color my first door was painted? He's like, no, that was so long ago. And she's like, well, it was pink. So thanks for remembering.
So
it was so like just that one line. You know their whole relationship. Like done. Explained to you.
Right.
So I love.
In contrast, my favorite quote is, think of the final line, think of the little red light as the one you love. Because, you know, interestingly enough, comparing it to yours, this whole like sham of a marriage, and then all the way back to like what she says on screen and like, you know, while the camera's running, were two completely different things.
You know what? I don't think it's a sham of a marriage. I don't think that one thing can erase everything that's happened. I think it's the idea that like I'm still like so loyal to you, and like you betrayed me though.
Right.
Like it's not that it's a sham. We were best friends. Like you supported me, did everything for me. I still love you. I'll love you no matter what, even though you're doing this. But like you still lied to me still, and like she wasn't. Like she was so loyal to him. Right. You know?
Yeah. I get
so
that.
That's the heartbreaking part.
True.
Like I'm sure she would have accepted him no matter what. You know?
I mean,
because they were best friends. Like
so that's the episode, guys. What are you guys thinking about this season of American Crime Story? Let us know. We're already in episode 3, and it's going to be up to episode 10. So we still have a long ways to go. What did you think of the direction of this episode? You guys got to let us know by linking with us through recap_rewind on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow us and check out the other shows that we review. And that is all I have to say about that. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.